This is In Character. I'm your host, Gerard Robinson, Vice President for Education at the Advanced Studies in Culture Foundation. Hello, everyone. My name is Gerard Robinson. Welcome back to In Character. As you know, once I have a group conversation, I bring together people from that talk to do a one-on-one with me. And today we've got Amy Denty from the great state of Georgia. Welcome back, Amy.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, I lived in Georgia. Two of my three daughters grew up in that state, so I consider that one of my three home states. Well, I really enjoyed our conversation. You were part of the group that talked about SEAs and what they do. Talk to us about teacher certification. That's actually one aspect of the education profession that people who aren't in the system or don't practice the craft, we don't often know a lot about it. Tell us more.
So in Georgia has a two-pronged approach. We have our Georgia Department of Education, but we also have the Georgia Professional Standards Commission. And the Professional Standards Commission is the credentialing commission in the state of Georgia. And that is the commission that I worked closely with back 10 years or so ago. And one of the things that I really learned a lot about during my time with the commission was teacher certification, and specifically alternative routes to certification. I'm really happy that Georgia has made it possible for people to become career switchers. And so, people who come from other fields have so much to offer to our students. And I'm really proud of the work that Georgia has done to make it possible for people to be career switchers and to enter the teaching profession from another field. And I feel thankful that I'm able to help people in my small rural school district jump through those hoops to go through those alternative certifications at times. Of course, also just traditional teacher certification can sometimes seem overwhelming to young people who are just coming out of college. And so I'm thankful that we have a commission in Georgia that takes care of that, but also that they are very committed to helping people like me who are working in local school districts to stay up to date so that we can support our new teachers, whether they're from an alternative certification or a traditional certification. I am a real believer that those first years of your teaching career, whether you're 22 years old and just out of college, or whether you're 45 years old and had a whole other career, those first few years are really pivotal. And so being able to navigate the certification waters and ensuring that you have all of those requirements, that's part of making it smooth sailing so that you have a good experience, so that we retain those people who wanted to come into our teaching profession. Teacher retention is huge. And I think that ensuring smooth routes to certification is part of hanging on to and retaining those quality teachers that we need to have in our schools.
I'm glad you talked about career switchers, because most people believe that someone directly from undergrad will go into a teacher program or go and teach and go a different route. But we have people in their 30s, 40s, 50s who've actually made a switch. At the federal level, there was a program called Troops to Teachers. And we also know that states have similar programs. In fact, Catherine Bassett, who helps organize this, had one of her colleagues who's now a professor working in the education field, who has spent a number of years as a journalist. So based upon what you've seen in Georgia, why do people decide, yeah, I'm 45 or 55, I want to make a difference? What draws them into the teaching profession?
In my experience, we have a pretty robust Troops to Teachers program here. And so, sometimes it's a situation in that scenario where in the military, I believe you can retire at 20 years and you still feel like you have something to offer and something to give. And many people turn to the teaching profession because that feels like a very altruistic profession, and it truly is. I think other times in my small town, what we see happen sometimes is that maybe a parent decides to stay home for a while with their child, and then they get involved as a school volunteer, and they think, wow, I like this school atmosphere. I like helping kids discover something new and learn something new. You know, there's nothing like that high for an adult to see that light bulb go on. And it really is, it's something that you can just really become addicted to, that feeling of helping to grow a child in some way. And so a lot of times in my small community, we'll have people that start out as volunteers and realize, wow, this is really something that I would like to do and can do. And so that happens a lot in my community where I live.
What can lay people in Georgia who may or may not have school-age children, or who may have but who are gone, what can they do to support the professional board and the work that it's doing?
Oh, to support the Professional Standards Commission?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great question. You know, one arm of the Professional Standards Commission has to do with educator ethics. And I don't apologize that in education, we often have to hold teachers to a higher standard than maybe other professions, but we are dealing with people's children. And so I think that we have to hold ourselves to a very high standard of ethical standards. And so I think that in general, people can support that whole philosophy, but you support high standards of ethical behavior by recognizing them, by supporting the needs that teachers may have in the classroom, and by being a good partner with our schools. And so I think that that's true at whatever level, from the local classroom all the way on up to the Georgia Professional Standards Commission, is being a good partner for public education and for public school teachers.
Last question. I started off with the career switcher. Let's go to the 23-year-old who wants to go directly to profession. What's words of wisdom you would give her or him as they enter?
I tell new teachers all the time that they need to surround themselves with people who are positive about our profession, and that know, even on the hard days, that we're doing the hard work of changing the world. And I believe that so much of my success was grounded in the fact that I was surrounded by people who wanted me to succeed and who believed that I could. And I think new teachers have to find those people in their school settings, and they have to make friends with them. And that can be the teacher next door to them, the lunchroom lady that takes good care of them at lunchtime, all the way to their administrator, their coaches. They've got to surround themselves with people that are going to support them. And then they've got to take their turn to pay that forward and support the people around them as well. It really is a community, and that collaboration and mutual respect for people is so important for setting teachers up to have a really fulfilling career. It's a hard job, but it's the best job in the world.
Well, thank you so much for your commitment to the profession, for the different roles that you've played in education, both inside the classroom and outside the classroom, because people often forget there are people like you and others who work outside the classroom who are setting policy, regulations, ethical standards, and others to make it a profession that people want to stay in, and that young people want to go in. So keep up the good work, Amy. Always glad to see someone from Georgia, and look forward to a future conversation.
Thanks so much. It was great to see you.
You too. Take care.